And we will again continue to work with teachers based upon the information that they share with us when we reach out over the next probably 3 to 4 days.
Okay. Next question. I am a speech therapist and I work primarily with self-contained autistic supports children. These children need physical prompting throughout the day to safely transition and to help them to attend teachers, to attend teachers and therapists. How are we supposed to remain safe from these students when it seems impossible to be socially distant? I also want to know if we will be required to provide face-to-face therapy to students who are unable to wear masks.
So we will work with that speech therapist specifically in terms of what it looks like or what your day looks like in terms of supporting those students. And that's the first part of the answer to the first part of your question. And the second part, if we will be required to provide face-to-face therapy. In instances where we are, it may be that we would utilize a face shield. I do know that in some instances we have face shields for various populations, because I know that there is a need for people to actually see your mouth when you're talking or supporting that student. But that is also an option.
What kind of collaboration is in place between admins making decisions and teachers? Are there committees in place?
So from the district level, we've been working with, if you will, committees to get feedback and guidance on a lot of the decisions that have been made. I do know that various schools have different committees and groups that they work with in terms of implementing procedures and processes for the upcoming school year. If that is a teacher, I would encourage her to reach out to her school principal to get more details.
Yes, that was Ms. Andre.
Oh, I see it, Ms. Fink, yes.
All right. The next question is actually from a teacher as well. Ms. Sanquino said, when will all teachers know what is required of us? That's the second.
So I think that's a two-part answer. In the online document, there are some specifics there, but I would say to you in general, the specific job description of a teacher, meaning from my perspective to provide high quality instruction to the students that are within your class or classes, is of utmost importance. We are specifying certain things that we want to see happen in the 2020-21 school year. Most of that information will be provided during our professional development. Some of it will also be coming out this week. I'm sure it's not much different than what you're currently doing. Excuse me, but I do think the medium or the venue in which we provide the instruction is different.
Okay, bless you. Many teachers have had changes in their needs since districts have gone virtual for the beginning of the year. Is it correct that they should contact HR to get a new survey? This is from Ms. Cahill.
That is correct.
All right.
And I just want to there was a difference of what, was it 5 days between the surveys, or 5 days, about a week. It was about a week. Okay.
Okay. Generally, how are low incident special ed groups defined?
Well, we're looking at your need. Some of the other things we looked at was whether or not the IEP accommodations, as well as your requirements for your state testing. And so when we looked at that, most of the groups most of the students that were identified were either autistic support and or life skills students. Okay,
thank you. What will the Zoom meeting for teachers address?
So again, it's an open meeting. It would be an open meeting, questions, answers, continue to have dialogue, get clarification. It's just another way for us to continue to make sure that we are communicating and in dialogue with our teachers. And it's primarily about it would be about the reopening of schools.
Okay, thank you. Is it necessary to sign up for the virtual academy even though school is going to be all virtual? What is the difference between them?
Yes. So if you want the Cyber Academy, yes, you do need to indicate that the application is to be completed by the end of the day on the 14th. And so I'll say that for that. The difference again is personalization in cyber. One of the things I would also share is that if you are interested in cyber, we would be wanting you to be a part of that model, at least through the end of the first quarter. If we do go back to the traditional building in some form, obviously families would have the option to go back, but if you don't want to go back, you could stay in cyber for the remainder of the school year.
Okay. Maureen Matana said she had contacted Dr. B. Coates in HR. Can you let me know when I will receive this survey? So I believe she's talking about the survey with regard to coming back, the survey you was discussing earlier that we gave to our parents and teachers.
Correct, and that was provided to all teachers at the same time. Okay. So, Joe, you may want to follow up with Maureen Matana, M-I-T-A-N-A, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm sorry?
I did receive Maureen's email, so I'll follow up with her.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you. If a special ed teacher is doing cyber, would you also service your learning support students?
That is our goal. We are working with Gina and Warren Denenza are working together on making sure that we're able to support students in the cyber world who may require learning support needs. That is our goal.
Okay, so the only teachers not teaching virtually are the low incident special ed teachers?
That would be correct. And again, we're looking at student need and we're looking at IEPs to ensure that we're supporting what our student accommodations indicate that we need to support. So as of right now, those would be the teachers who would be supporting students face-to-face in small groups. Okay. And when I say small groups, meaning that we would not have more than 4 to 6, about 6 students in a setting on 2 days out of the week.
And does that cover all of our ASP teachers and LS teachers as well? Because that's something that question is asking, will the ASP and LS teachers are the only ones being required to teach in person?
No. The people who are being required to teach in person would be, and it's not required.
Okay.
What we want to do is support the 116 low incidence students we have in grades K through 12. Okay. So we've identified those students and we will be reaching out to those specific teachers within the next 3 to 4 days. Okay. And so it's only the low incidence population. Most of those students, as indicated before, either autistic support or life skills. And okay. So those teachers will know who they are, and it's only in 5 of our schools. So there's some in the middle school, the high school. Hold on one second. And I'll just tell you the other schools that I know where we have them. It's Alden, Ardmore, and Evans, and then the middle school and the high school.
Okay. Will we be able to get the Xfinity hotspot again with our Chromebooks?
We do have MiFi devices, and so that is an option to support families. We're also looking at some other options as a better way to support families who may need internet access.
Okay. All right. Steve Parent said, I have a pregnant wife at home and going into school with kids that leave and have no control over where they go, who they see, and the same for their parents, guardians. I think this is dangerous, especially with numbers skyrocketing for children.
I just want to clarify something. I guess students are not going to be in the school. We're doing virtual. So
No, what I think that this person is saying is that it looks like that they're trying to say that.
because he says, and going into school with kids.
Yeah, it seems like that their concern is
The special ed children that are in the building as the special ed children, that the low incidence children that come in the building, and the other, I think he's asking about the other staff being exposed. That's an autistic support teacher.
okay. So can we I guess message him off to the side, Mr. Parent, just to understand exactly what he's asking. The other question is, what time should students sign in on their Chromebooks for virtual learning?
The instructional day begins at 9 o'clock. There may be some differences by school, but I would say after a child has breakfast and is prepared, it may be 8:45. Again, I would ask that you get that direction specifically from the school, but the instructional day will be from 9 until 2. So for example, a school may decide that from 8 to 8:30, we're going to do social and emotional learning. So I don't want to give you a time today that then is different than what the school would indicate once you receive your Chromebook and your materials.
Okay. When will parents know their child's teacher for the upcoming school year?
I would probably say over the course of the next few weeks. I do know that schools are working on communicating with families regarding the upcoming school year, and we will also have some parameters around when we will, when we would have, for lack of better terms, orientation or welcome back nights, or those types of things. It will just look a lot different than what we are accustomed to.
Okay. Brenda Lebens, I'm a special education teacher who has medical issues, but I did not send in the survey as I thought we were virtual. I am concerned about our safety and our student safety. If it is not safe for the rest of the population, why place us in danger?
Again, I'm sharing, we've asked the question of our medical experts, and based upon that, that's the direction that we're taking.
Okay. I believe you did answer this question. If virtual school ends before a parent feels comfortable with sending their child back to school physically, could we enroll our child in cyber school, or is the enrollment window for cyber school closed after this week?
The date, it closes on Friday. So we need your information by Friday, and we are following up with all of those families as well.
Okay. You answered this question. Are there any new information in terms? Are there any new information in terms to testing kindergarten students before school starts?
We're not going to be testing those students before school starts.
Okay. Okay, so it says, I appreciate these meetings. Would there be one for cyber school? Many of us have chosen this option without any prior experience.
We could do that. I hesitate a little bit only because we may do a combined meeting, but there will be an opportunity for questions to be addressed. I would also encourage that family member, I believe it is in the chat, and I think I can copy it and post it again, but there is a phone number, maybe I can't. There's a phone number, and I'll just state that you can call 610-284-8005. That's the cyber school office. It's actually in the chat window at 7:16 p.m., extension 1263. 610-284-8005, extension 1263.
Okay, thank you. Are there any communications in the works with local daycares? I feel like many of our students will be doing most of their schoolwork there between the hours of 9 and 2, and they should be invited to meet with teachers, schools to help learn Google Classroom and other programs we will be utilizing.
We did indicate that we would provide support to daycare so that they are aware of what we are utilizing and how to better support those students. So we do have a way to reach out to those daycares. We actually have a pretty exhaustive listing of daycares.
Okay.
That we could provide some support to.
Okay, thank you. It says in the survey given to teachers, 88.8% of respondents stated that they would like to teach remotely from home and come into the classroom as needed. This is an overwhelming majority of the 266 respondents. These individuals explained the reasons that telework mandated by the governor were possible. Is the best option for them, their health and their family. None of these responses said we couldn't come in when absolutely necessary. We are all working professionals that want nothing more than to have our normal classrooms with our students back, but that isn't the reality of this nation. That is not the reality of this national pandemic. You say your administration supports teachers, but if your educators, the people you rely on to teach real factual science and social emotional awareness, are telling you that they can do their job effectively remotely while staying safe and COVID-free, why aren't you listening to them?
I am taking the direction from the medical experts. The other thing that I will share with you is that, as I've shared earlier with the individuals, we cannot control what happens in individuals' homes. And so just like tonight, unfortunately, there were some technical issues. Mm-hmm. When those issues happen at individuals' homes, we don't have a way to support those teachers. And so what's happening is that students are continuing to lose quality time from instruction. Mm-hmm. We've already reduced the hours of instruction from 9 until 2. Students are usually engaged in some type of instructional activity for 6 hours or more. And when I put on also my parent hat, and I'm sure most parents would agree to this, for the children who've been out of school since March, they want their children back in school in some type of structured instructional manner, or receiving instruction in some type of structured manner. And so given that, I think we need to position ourselves to be in a place where we can support teachers in the event that there are technical issues or challenges, and we're able to support them in the actual building. Most of the rooms that I've looked at in our schools are large enough for me as an adult, as a professional, to go into that room, provide quality instruction, utilize the resources that the district has provided to me. I have a whiteboard or some type of board in my room that I can use. I don't think most people have that in their homes. There may be some people that do, but there are resources in my classroom that I can utilize. And so we want to make sure that teachers are able to utilize those resources as well. So I do hear the concern, and that's why I specifically asked that question on the 5th of August in terms of teachers being in a building in their own classrooms, providing quality instruction to our students. And the other thing that I would share, and I think somebody mentioned it in the chat, is that what was done, or I guess they weren't as satisfied with the level of support or instruction that their child received in the March to June window. And I think that we have an obligation to improve upon that. And so that is also a part of some of the rationale behind moving forward with that recommendation.
Thank you. Uh, what is considered proper ventilation in the building?
I don't have the answer to that question. I know that we did have our property meeting on Monday, and I believe that question was answered. I don't want to try to restate something and be incorrect, but I don't see the name of that person. We can follow up with them, or you're more than welcome to view the taped Zoom session, because that was a question that was asked.
Yes, that was Miss Anita Lanier that asked this question.
All right, so I'm going to ask Jeff if you could follow up with that person, please.
Okay. Katie Curry said, I have yet to hear a strong argument as to the specific benefit of having the teacher teach from their classroom. I'm willing to guess that most of us aren't worried about our home internet use. If a teacher has the resources to safely teach from home, why force them into a building? Why does it have to be talk to HR? It'll be case by case basis. The state guidelines continue to be telework if possible. What reasoning makes teaching remotely not possible? I think you answered that already.
I would agree with you.
Okay. I think you answered this question as well, but let me know. Will special education teachers, related service providers, and IAs be the only teachers exposed to students' families on a daily basis?
We are looking at the low incident students. And so if you are a teacher who teaches those students, we will be contacting you and we will have conversations regarding supporting those students in a face-to-face model.
Okay, thank you. If special education teachers are required to teach, hold on. Yeah, that's it. I was right. You answered that one, I think. I don't. With regard to virtually, you answered that one. When is the first day for IAs? That is from me.
Yeah, we will have them in training starting on August the 31st.
Okay. Hi, Dr. B. Coates. Can you please respond to the statistics that were read earlier, specifically that there's been a 90% increase in COVID-19 in U.S. children in the last 4 weeks? With this data, what makes you think it's safe to bring certain students back into the building? As has already been noted, social distancing is impossible with these students.
We work with the Chester County Health Department, and when I say we, I'm speaking of the Delaware County Intermediate Unit, which represents and supports all superintendents. There are 15 of us. We meet every Tuesday. We're looking at the data, and that is the data that guides the decisions that are made. I cannot speak to data that is not representative of Delaware County, so that is the data that we use to make the decisions going forward.
Okay. You answered the question about low incident. Oh, well, no, this is a different question. Will low incident teachers and related service providers receive hazard pay since we are the only ones being asked to teach in person?
I'm not sure that the district provides hazard pay. I've never heard that terminology before. We will make sure that we honor the agreed upon salary that you're currently working with, and we will have conversations with those individuals to see if there is a level of support to support the students.
All right. It says, we sent an application for our son. This is from Sam. We sent an application for our son's kindergarten enrollment more than a week ago, but have not received any response or enrollment confirmation. When should we expect to hear back?
I would think within about 2 weeks. I know that there is a process in which we review the paperwork and the information that is submitted. And we also have to do a verification of address documentation data that is provided. If someone on staff could put into the chat maybe the registration office phone number so that that parent can contact that office, that would be great.
Joanna Maneri says, I work in Green Avenue campus and am concerned about the shared areas that teachers will be forced to use, specifically the bathrooms. There is a single bathroom on the main floor that is usually working, as well as the one in the library. I can only speak about the female faculty bathroom on the second floor, which on a good day has 2 or 3 stalls that close and have working toilets. In addition, I lost my place. In addition, only 1, maybe 2 sinks work and drains. I have not used the student bathrooms on the main floor, but have heard from students that the situation is basically the same. Considering that these are areas that everyone in the building will be using often, what is the specific plan to keep them clean? And is there a plan to fix some of them so that these do not turn into areas of transmission?
In terms of cleaning, I'm going to refer individuals to the video that was produced and provided on this past Monday at our property meeting. I'm also going to encourage individuals to, if you can, look at that recording, because we go through specifically our cleaning standards and our procedures. Additionally, several, I'll just say, repairs and things have been done, but I will ask Mr. Cuff to make a note of that. I know that I've been in both high school buildings, and those concerns were not highlighted in terms of the bathrooms, but we will do a double check to on the actual functioning of those items.
Thank you. You've answered some of these. When are the related service providers being required to come into the building going to be notified that there is what's going to be expected of them?
Again, this is, we've just, I think it was yesterday, we finalized our numbers. And so again, until we have conversations with teachers, this is just our current thinking. And so once we know specifically what we are doing, because obviously the support of low incidence students can't happen if we don't have teachers that want to necessarily support them. And so if that is the case, then we will have to potentially pivot or identify another way to support these students.
Okay. This is from a parent. It's my daughter's first year in the 10th grade, and I have decided to register her for cyber learning. Can I register her for hybrid learning again if it is safe to do so?
Yes, you would be able to.
Okay. Next question is, for the virtual schooling, will new instruction be introduced every day or on a weekly basis?
I think it will be more periodic than on a weekly basis, but specific information regarding that will be provided when we have our cyber session for families. And again, the phone number for the cyber office is 610-284-8005, extension 1263. And if our attendees have access to the chat, it is listed there.
It looks like these other, just want to clarify, the student schedule is 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
That is the instructional day.
Okay.
The 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's the instructional day, yes.
Okay. This is another question about the service providers from Sarah Murphy. Related service providers sent a list of questions and concerns about providing in-person therapy to Gina, Catherine, and Jen on 7/20/20. To date, we have received no answers. We are very concerned about providing in-person to therapy to students. who may be unable to wear masks, will we be required to provide face-to-face therapy to students who will not wear a mask? These students are unable to wear face shields either. As a speech therapist, I will be wearing a mask and a face shield because it will best protect everyone involved. So I don't know if that was a question or, well, as far as to date, we have received no answers. I guess we should be trying to address that.
Yep, I will follow up with Gina.
Okay, and that question was from Sarah Murphy.
Okay.
Mo, I think you skipped a statement regarding all high school teachers received their tentative schedule on Tuesday, 6/16, and the assignment letter with the department on Wednesday, 7/22, and Thursday, 7/23.
Yeah, I skipped that because I felt like Dr. Lee was helping us out by answering that question that somebody had posed earlier.
Right.
Thank you for stating that.
Great.
I don't know if this is a question, proper question, but is there a dress code while doing virtual? I've seen other schools say no PJs. Sorry, I had to ask. That's a good question because I wouldn't have thought that.
It's an excellent question. And actually last night at our policy committee meeting, we talked about that. So we are providing some direction for families in terms of appropriate measures that we should be taking. And so we definitely want students or individuals to be in a classroom dressed appropriately. And so there are going to be some general, I'll just say guidelines that we will be providing in that arena.
Thank you very much, Rita, for that. And thank you, Dr. Biko, to your team for addressing that. Just to clarify, are special education students coming in the building?
We are trying to support 116 low incidence students within 5 school buildings. That is what we're trying to support. And those numbers vary by school. I don't foresee these students traveling and being throughout the building. And again, some schools have, the largest number of students I see is 31. And the smallest number is 13. And again, that's in 5 school buildings.
Okay. This is from Ms. Matana. Dr. Biko, on Monday, you sent a reply to my email stating, hello, I appreciate you sharing your concerns. Please note that I did not communicate to you or anyone else that is mandatory for teachers to work from an empty classroom. If possible, please share with me your source of this statement. As we have communicated in the past, if there is a unique situation by a teacher, they should inform Human Resources. I have copied the Human Resources Director on this email to capture the concern and how we can move forward. Could you explain why you sent me an email asking about mandatory teaching in person when tonight you reiterated that we would be required to come in as I had asked?
So as I indicated in the email to you, Ms. Matana, I've never used the word mandatory. And what we are requesting is that teachers be in their classrooms. That's what we are requesting. I'm not going to get hung up on semantics with words, but that is what I've communicated.
This another question is, how does this instructional day work with VOTEC schedules?
We will have to do some definite coordination. I know that it's my understanding, I learned today that there are VOTEC schools who are going to be open, and they are requiring, well, I shouldn't say requiring, students are able to come into the building and receive those services. So that's going to require some coordination on our end. I do know that I am still waiting for the DCIU and their VOTEC school to determine what their plan of action will be. So for the ones that are open and our students are participating in those VOTEC schools, we will have to coordinate our efforts.
So you just talked about the VOTEC. You already talked about kindergarten. Kate said that the medical expert did not answer the question regarding proper ventilation building. Yes, the medical experts did, and that was during our, we had a facilities meeting, a properties meeting where we discussed, ventilation was actually discussed in that meeting. Jeff, if it's possible to, if anyone has a PowerPoint, if we could put it in the chat so people that missed that meeting can be caught up to speed on what was addressed in our property meeting. Since virtual learning will be until the end of October, will parents be notified in enough time before switching over to hybrid learning?
Yes, that is definitely our goal, because that is going to take some time. October is a time frame by which we will continue to make further decisions. We will be giving the board an update every 4 weeks on the data that we're getting for Delaware County.
Okay. Are we still having orientation for the autistic support students going to the 7th grade who have trouble transitioning?
My short answer is going to be yes. I'm sure there will be orientation or some form of orientation for students as they transition. Each school will be handling the specifics on the actual orientation itself.
Okay. A question, can some student clubs and activities that can be run virtually happen in the fall? Things like student council, class officers, National Honor Society, etc., can still function well via Google Meets and emails with students. We'd be ready to hit the ground running once we're back in school physically. And this was from Amanda Ryder.
I'm perfectly fine with that. So yes.
Okay. I mean, I think you answered this as well. How's it going to work if 2 teachers are teaching in the same room at the same time?
Again, in my conversations with principals, we're going to have to utilize other rooms and do things a little differently. No one has indicated to me at the leadership level, meaning as a principal, that they would not be able to support this particular situation if that is the case. I do know that we may have an instructional assistant who may be in a room with a teacher, but those individuals will still be able to do the 6 feet social distancing without a concern.
Thank you. Many of our high school students work, and during the end of the last year, I had many students who were working during the day since they did not have to be in the building for classes. Is administration going to make it clear to parents and students that the expectation is for students to be available for lessons during normal school hours?
Yes, we are going to continue every communication. We're going to continue communicating through every communication channel we have. We are also going to be sending out via U.S. mail information to homes and families. And I'm encouraging everyone, that's a part of this William Penn School District community to make sure that they do the same in terms of communicating that message.
Ms. Cahill said, I just wanted noted that teachers, at least at the secondary level, were told not to communicate with parents when we first closed in March. Teachers are more prepared, and many teachers feel as though they can service students better at home. If a specific teacher is not doing his or her job, then it is admin's responsibility to handle it. Why are we putting all teachers in an awkward situation when the few who do not do their job appropriately are not being held accountable?
I cannot address anything that happened last year. That's the first thing I would say. Going forward, we will be ensuring that individuals are held accountable for performing the functions as outlined in their job descriptions.
Okay. I am concerned for our students that may be unidentified or misidentified and in need of additional and or low incident support. How will we support these children?
We will continue to work with our families through communication when we're in the virtual setting. If there are indications that a student needs some additional support, we will definitely put our support mechanism in place. So that's working with the counselor. There may be someone else in the building that is identifying that the student has a need. And then we will make sure that we follow our proper procedures for supporting those students.
Okay. So I just want to say what I'm doing is I'm filtering our comments because Dr. Beachcoats has addressed kind of the similar comments over and over again with regard to coming from teachers. And teachers, I do understand your concern, and I am trying to filter through your questions as much as possible. And I do hear your passion and what you're saying. What I would say is that if you could contact Dr. B. Coates and his team and who he's telling you to contact to be able to address the concerns that you have or any questions you have with regard to knowing what certain dates are, or your concerns with coming in as a teacher, or different adjustments that he may be able to make. I am not aware of that, what adjustments he can make, but I think that we should be contacting, going through our normal channels of communication. We're trying to address and hear as many comments as we can. So, will the elementary school teachers go back to one teacher teaching their class all subjects, or will the students be taught by each teacher in their agreed different subjects?
I believe most of our elementary school teachers have one teacher teaching the class for most of your core subjects. Obviously, you have art, music, and PE that's taught by a different teacher. So again, that will be handled through the scheduling of students at the individual school level. Okay.
Are students required to attend live lessons, or are they permitted to work asynchronously without penalty? Thank you, Ms. Blagman.
Students will be required to attend live lessons, but they will also have the opportunity to work in an asynchronous environment as well.
All right, Ms. Murphy said we didn't really answer her question. Ms. Sarah Murphy, will therapists be required to provide face-to-face services to low incident students who cannot or will not wear a mask?
That will be dependent upon the need of the student.
Okay. All right. And I guess this is the last one. What specific training will IAs receive in regards to being in buildings supporting special ed students who are most likely unable to wear a mask and social distance? Please clarify what makes AS and LS so-called low incident populations.
It's based upon a student's IEP accommodations and what those students require. So that's what we're looking at as a driving factor, as well as whether or not those students meet the requirements for PASA testing. So that's what we're looking at. And so these are students that we have identified that need the most help and are the most vulnerable.
Okay. Well, I just want to say we did download the chat. There are more questions. They're not on my screen right now, but I tried to answer as many questions, put out and present as many questions as possible for you and your admin tonight. My plan was to try to do a hard stop at 8:30. I knew that there was going to be a lot of questions being asked, and I just want to say Dr. Beacos has already placed the phone numbers place the phone numbers. I'm going to go to you, Sister Scribe. I think I seen your question. Well, 1 second. There was, it looks like a parent had a question up earlier and I seen it. I believe you answered the question with regard to the IAs. What specific training will the IAs receive in regard? Didn't you answer that?
Yes, there will be training for the IAs. I think that came from the IAs in the low incidence classes. So we will definitely be providing them with some support and training.
Okay. Ms. Lanier, I think I was asking a question. I was asking a question that you posed. I don't know. You said I heard my name, Anita Lanier, and I just want to clarify the questions and response. Okay. And Ms. Chan, do you have, Ms. Chan had her hand raised. I don't know if Ms. Chan still has a question. I don't know if anybody's able to see that, but she has her hand raised.
Yeah. I allowed her to talk.
And Ms. Mashenda has a question as well.
Ms. Chan, you're on.
She's still muted.
Yeah, she has to unmute herself.
Okay. Ms. Mashenda, do you still have a question? Oh, there she is.
Yes, I still have a question. Well, I have two questions. One, why when the first letters were sent out, why did I only get one letter and I have 2 children in the district? That's number one. And number two, that number for Denenta does not work. It's a fax machine. You can't leave a message. I don't know if it's because the power outage, but I called before to try to leave a message and it rings. You put the extension number in and there's no message to leave. It sounds like a fax machine. So I don't know if the extension is not set up or whatever, but I just want y'all to be aware of that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mashenda. His email address is in the chat.
I got that.
You do? Okay.
No problem. But as far as like the letters for school, I have 2 children in the district, and the last letters that y'all sent out, only one of my children who's new to the district got the letter was only addressed to him. Yes, baby.
Are both of your students enrolled in a district school, or are one of them in
Yes.
Okay.
One child is new, and my other child was already at Walnut.
Okay. I'll look into that and have Ms. Bookman follow up with you.
Okay. Other than that, I'm good, but I just think that this meeting would have been a little shorter had some people not asked the same question 99 times, and you have to keep repeating yourself.
Thank you, Ms. Mashenda.
I'm just saying. Get in here, y'all.
So, Board of Directors, does anyone have any questions before we wrap up? And attendees, if anyone has any last 2 questions, just put it in the chat and we'll get it.
Not at this time. I did copy and paste the chat to send to everyone.
Okay.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Ms. Boyd. I just wanted to share something. I do just want to inform those individuals that are on this Zoom. Our power is out at the Green Avenue Administration Building. It does not mean that we are still not working. So I just wanted to piggyback off of the parent's statement about the phone. If you are having a challenge reaching us by phone, I would ask that you email us, please, because all of us are working from other locations while the power is being restored in that building.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time tonight. Everyone stay safe and stay healthy. And we will see you at the next education meeting. And actually, Jen, don't we have?
Oh, yes.
We have a few more, if you want to.
Right. We have a few more meetings, if you're so interested. Monday, the 17th at 6:30 p.m. is our Committee of the Whole meeting. Zoom, the information is available on our website. And then the 24th is our regular scheduled board meeting. The voting meeting, same time, 6:30. And the information's on Zoom. I am not aware of any other meetings other than those two for the end of the month. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. But we are here and ready, Dr. Becoats, if you need us to meet more.
Okay. Thank you all. I greatly appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice night and stay safe.
Be well.
Good
Be
night.
well.